Alright, gang. Thank you guys for hanging in there. Here it is. This is the last movie review before you walk into theater and see Force Awakens. We're going to talk about today Return of the Jedi, which is going to be episode 6. And again, I'm Vegabomber, and I'm here with Matt and Rachel, Lost Toys. Right? Throw up the gang signs. Tell me what's up. Lost Toys. So here's the thing. Just a few minutes ago, actually last week, I'm saying it's a minute ago, but last week we talked about, it was Brian, about Empire Strikes Back, best movie. But some people saw this first. And some people like maybe Return of the Jedi, which some people might say is the weaker of the three. But I don't know. How do y'all feel about that criticism when you hear people say it was the weaker of the original trilogy?
I think you and I actually had a conversation at one point, and I think what really makes a difference to people in their opinion of Return of the Jedi is how old you were when you saw it.
Yeah.
I was born the year the first Star Wars came out, so I actually got to see Return of the Jedi in the theater, and I was a kid under the age of 10, and I don't remember exactly how old, but so to me it was everything. It was perfect, and it was happy and exciting, and answered all the questions we had from Empire, and I loved it. But you were saying you were a little older when you watched it, and I think that makes a big difference. I was, at this point, 14. In 77, I was 9 when I saw the first Star Wars, which is probably what you were feeling when you saw Return of the Jedi. Absolutely.
And at 14, I was playing sports, had my driver's license, so I wanted to see something like a real good battle, and for me, I see your hashtag Team Ewoks, and I'm probably hashtag No Ewoks Allowed, probably. But, you're in the middle of this. What was going on for you, Matt, when you saw it?
I was 1. So I was born in 82. I know that there's a picture of me at Christmas of the 83, came out in 83. Mm-hmm. And I've got a Return of the Jedi jersey on, and I'm opening up my presents. My presents are all Return of the Jedi toys. So for me, Return of the Jedi will always be my kind of doorway into Star Wars, because for me that's where it started, and it was much more aimed for children. So Empire's so dark, there's not a lot of moments where you're like, oh, kids like that. Return of the Jedi has a lot more moment. It's got those cool monsters like in Jabba's palace. Obviously the Ewoks, which Rachel's a fan. And just lots of cool kind of scenery changes, things like that. But I love Return of the Jedi, man. I'll never understand people trashing Return of the Jedi. It's great. The fight at the beginning of Return of the Jedi on Tatooine is one of my favorite sequences in those whole movies. And the lightsaber fight with him and Darth Vader at the end is the best one in that original trilogy. I mean, it's good. Man. They came so far from that first one with Obi-Wan, where they're just robots in a small world. To Return of the Jedi, when there's a real fight, and that part where he's hammering down on Darth Vader's hand, they're okay, give. That part is really powerful. So I like Return of the Jedi, man. I thought I loved the green lightsaber when I was a kid. Everything green. I used to draw pictures of green lightsabers. Oh, I love it. I thought green lightsabers were so cool.
No, they totally were. And of course, fast forward to today now, in 2015, the problem or the controversy is with the slave Leia costume. What are you guys weighing on that?
I think it's a little crazy that it's a controversy. I mean, I understand the point. I have a daughter. I have to worry about role models and all that.
But in all her glory.
Yeah, in all her glory. But the point is she was a prisoner. She was forced by Jabba to wear that, and she took it off when she got away. So it's what? I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't see what the big deal is. It's it's not like she was trying to put out a vibe. I mean, she was in a bad situation. She had to wear it, and she crushed that situation.
Yeah, she did, and she choked the situation.
She choked that situation.
I mean, from just the writing perspective of that, how great is that? It's showing that the chains that were used to keep her down was the chain she used to free herself.
Well,
killing Jabba. I mean, that's incredible. But I guess somebody missed it. So let's go back to 83. So we're there now, we're watching this, and so we know at the end of Empire, Matt, you already mentioned it, kind of a downer, a lot of bad stuff happened. It was called Empire Strikes Back, but it really should have been called Empire 1.
I feel so sorry for you guys for having to wait from 1980 to 1983 to find out what happens. That 3 years. Man, luckily I was just let's rent the movie. So I didn't have to do that. Oh man, I feel so bad for you guys. You must have been what's happening? And
how could they do that?
There was no internet, I guess, but there must have been people shouting down from the rooftops about Han Solo or Harrison Ford might not
Yeah.
come back and things like that. So there must have just been like, what's happening? Where are they? You know,
Yes,
like, so
yes.
I can't imagine what that must have been like for you guys.
Well, I remember what we did to pass that time was me and my brothers pulled out the action figures and we tried to imagine Return of the Jedi with our action figures. What would happen? You know?
Did you get close?
No, we were horribly way off. We shouldn't have even. But it was kind of cool what we decided. You know, like I think Luke ends up kicking Jabba's butt. But you know, that was us throwing him off of a car, and we filmed the car falling. You know, it's just
awesome.
we did crazy stuff with the action figures. You know, stop motion type stuff. But in the film itself, right? So let's take a look at this. So we were talking about the downer part of Empire Strikes Back. But then at the beginning, what you wanted to see was somebody come and save Han because he was frozen in carbonite. We saw Chewie go aggro and start throwing people and stuff, which was cool. Maybe I would like to see some more, but he had 3PO on his back. But now we get a Luke Skywalker now, right? Who's showing up in all black. Did he go dark side? Did he wrestle? What happened to him since he fought with his
looks so
dad?
cool.
He looks awesome.
Didn't he look cool? That was the first time we saw a Jedi in black.
Yeah.
And he shows up and notice the attitude of Luke when he talks to
That,
Jabba.
I don't know, confidence or whatever. He's like, look, I'm going to give you one. Like, it was,
Yes.
from what the last time we saw Luke, it was like him crying and getting his hand cut off. I'm like, this sucks. But like, from that to the beginning of Return of the Jedi, you're like, wow. Like, you're like, what happened?
What happened?
Yeah.
Like clearly
How did you
finished
turn
that.
into such a badass so quickly? So, I guess they cut some cool scenes out that would have kind of showed you, like, you know, they added on the Blu-ray to him completing his lightsaber, his new lightsaber. And
Right.
so that would have been cool to see, like, what were, you know, it's just like two different characters,
Yeah.
you know. So that was crazy. Yeah, when he's just totally different. You know,
Yeah.
like that was scary, man. And I don't know. And Leia tries to save Han.
Yeah.
She tries to return the favor, but
Mm-hmm.
doesn't go so
In a very cool costume.
Is that
Yeah.
that thermal detonator
Yeah.
she was holding and she was saying all that?
She was caught.
I mean, wasn't that cool? I mean, Rachel, didn't you like that when she took the helmet off and there she is with
Oh, that
Han?
was so
It was
yeah.
awesome.
The
It
one
was
who loves you.
Yeah, exactly. It was very touching, and I hated that she got caught, but I loved that she. I mean, who wouldn't do that for the one that they love? I
Yeah.
mean, any of us would. You hope, at least.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was excellent, and then we saw Lando, of course, you know, redeem himself a little bit after kind of selling him up the river because he had to. His hands were tied, I guess. So when you see him behind that mask, you're kind of going, okay, Luke's there. You eventually learn that Leia's there, Lando's there. You're just feeling like, oh yes, this is what Star Wars should be. The guys are coming back together again to try to help somebody, you know. And all of a sudden, you get the barge and the Sarlacc. And then what happens to Boba Fett? Really?
Don't remind us.
I forgot about that.
He was so like he just really everybody looked. Boba was one of the first like anti-heroes, I guess.
Mhm.
Even though he never did anything heroic,
Yes.
he just looked so cool.
Yeah.
And they really kind of tried to
Jetpack!
give him more to do in Empire. Return of the Jedi, you're like, oh man, he's cool. And then he dies like a silly death, like
Yeah.
a Tom and Jerry death or something. He's
Yeah.
like, whoa, whoa! And you're just like, what? I remember as a kid going, I thought he was
Yeah.
going to come back out.
Yes.
So when he didn't come back out, and I'm just like, that it?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I don't know.
It was crazy because that was the first person that ever got Darth Maul. It was Boba Fett.
Oh.
So, Boba Fett died a corny death, and Darth Maul died a corny death. And here are some figures that were mysterious and you wanted to know more about. But here's what Lucas first shows us he's kind of slipping a little bit because he kills Boba Fett in this one. And then I guess the Sarlacc, it was okay, I guess.
Burps.
Kind of, yeah, burps, right? And then he did some stuff to this movie. I don't know if I can forgive him for it, but he added to it later, but we'll get to that. So then the story's moving on now, and I don't know, I'll ask you, what did you think about this, Rachel? So when they land on Endor, and the Ewoks showed up, tell me what was going on in your mind at that moment.
Oh, I don't know if I can remember that far back, but I thought it was cool. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, it's something new, and they're kind of cute, but I'm female, and I realize that sounds kind of stereotypical, but I was a child. I mean, it was exciting. They were an interesting creature. I loved the Wookiees. I thought, are they tiny Wookiees? I don't know, you know, and so I thought it was great. I understand
Yeah,
why
yeah.
why that can be taken as a sellout and or or immature even, because the other movies weren't geared towards kids in quite that way. But it's a family movie. The whole thing, all of them were, and so it definitely appeals to some.
Yeah, so we get that speeder bike deal. Some good cinema, right? Watching that, what happened, the speeder bikes, I guess it was. That was a pretty good scene, and even though the effects kind of show up a little bit, but you still like it. It was still pretty good.
Oh man, the part where he cuts the guy. That's me in that green lightsaber. I'm like, ooh, that's cool. He cuts the thing off. Oh, that was cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. That's exactly what we're doing this for. I want to hear the excitement of it. That was good, and I think for me, and here's where I'm just kind of playing the other side here. Rachel is like, so again, I'm 14, and so I'm kind of thinking, how did the Ewoks take out Imperial Stormtroopers with space armor, with rocks and sticks? That was the only thing, and so I kind of started to lose a little bit of ground. However, it still won me back over when, hey, that last act with the Emperor, Darth Vader, and Luke. I mean, wasn't that kind of like raising the hair up on your arms? And
Absolutely.
So good.
I mean, that choice, right? And think about this. This is the first time, guys, where Luke says, wait a minute. All the other Jedis wanted to kill Siths. Luke is the first one that goes, wait a minute. Maybe it's not about killing him. I think there's some good in Dad. I want to turn him. See, Luke's the first one to do that. Right? In all the trilogy now. And I love that he says, no, I'm not going to fight. I'm going to go in, let him take me in. And then I like how he's trying to reason with Vader. And I think that's good. Whenever he says, I know there's some good in you, I can feel it. I mean, didn't that do something
Absolutely.
to you?
I mean, you doing it now gives me chills. And every time I watch the movie, it gives me chills. So.
I mean, think about that. We had not seen this before. We'd never seen, we never seen a Sith go back to being a Jedi. Right, and then Luke's believing this, and again, Luke is a guy that didn't finish his training with Ben Kenobi because Ben Kenobi got killed, and then he didn't get to finish his training with Yoda because he took off to go have that first battle, and then when he goes back, Yoda's dead. But you get the sense that Luke now, he's on another level with his Jedi-ness, didn't you think?
Yeah, Darth Vader even says it when he takes his lightsaber. He pops out the lightsaber, and he's like, well, it looks like you made a lightsaber. I guess your Jedi training is complete. So he knows right then, like, he's a Jedi Knight. He's not just some kid, like, picking up a lightsaber. He's a Jedi Knight. So.
Yeah, and then notice that line Luke says to his dad, and then Vader says, Obi-Wan thought like you did, but he was wrong. I'm with the Emperor. I will take you to the Emperor now. And you see Luke's head just kind of go down like, gosh, so he didn't have the best of plans of how he was going to do it, but at least he threw himself out there to try to do it. And then we get that scene in that throne room with Emperor and Darth Vader and Luke saying, well, my friends are going to knock down the base, and then the Emperor basically says, no, they're not. They're walking into a trap.
Guess what? This thing works.
Yes. And that tension, didn't you feel that tension when he was like, go ahead, grab your Jedi weapon.
Strike me down.
I mean, wasn't that...
That was incredibly tense. I mean, you could absolutely feel that. You feel the pain of the choice that he's mulling over in his head. I mean,
you can see it's weird to a character with a mask, and you can still feel. You still feel without being able to see his face. Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, I guess, but
no, but that's right.
But you just do. I mean.
That's right, because that's like in the Avengers, whenever Iron Man needs to do something dramatic, they always have his helmet up so you can see the face when he expresses it. But here, none of that. It's just Darth Vader in the mask. And then, of course, he says the thing about his sister. Well, if you won't turn, then we'll get your sister to turn. And then what happens?
Luke goes crazy. There's a cool moment in that fight, too, where he throws his lightsaber at Luke. I remember thinking, like, you can throw the lightsabers? Like, holy crap, this guy's bad.
Yeah.
But then when he does that, Luke's like hiding and he just lights up the lightsaber. He's like, no! And he just starts like going crazy.
Yes.
And like this big bad dude that, I mean, Darth Vader was like a bad dude.
Yeah, he was.
So like just to see Luke just hacking away at him. And I remember he's just got that lightsaber up. Like if it was a stabbing, those would be defensive wounds. He's just like, no. Then he cuts the hand off. And he cuts his hand off and he cuts that railing in half. I'm like, golly.
Remember, the Emperor was liking this because this is what he was trying to get to happen.
He's trying to make him angry.
Well, that's what he did with Anakin to Dooku, right? Kill this one, then you be the new one. So, man, that was powerful. And again, when he's like zapping Luke, that you could just see. I think Darth Vader just kind of like like he's just like looking, like you could just see his body kind of turn, but you know. Oh man, that's so powerful.
Yes, and remember, because Luke was just about to do it, and then he said no. He resisted going full dark side. He threw his lightsaber and said, "No."
Like my father.
Yes, like my father. Yes, I mean you nailed it right on. So Rachel, what do you think? So, how does that feel? Your brother, right, Luke, jumps out there because he said something about turning his sister. I mean, does that make you feel something when your brother's going to fight for you?
I mean, it's beautiful. It's the love of family, and it's so real. If there's anything that can incite anger in any of us, it's protectiveness for the ones that we love, whether it's our siblings or children or whatever. So I mean, it's so real. A lot of times in children's stories, things are simplified and everything's black and white, and I love that they take it into shades of gray. That there is no true good or evil. It's it's somewhere in between. Loving your family can be your weakness, but he doesn't let it be. And it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it really is. No, and that's exactly right. And so now we take it to this. So he then defies the Emperor. The Emperor's killing him. And I love how they show the lightning going all over his body, even across his teeth.
That's the best.
Yes, I love that part. And I watch that, which is interesting because in the prequels, you put lightning back on Palpatine's face and it turns into Monster Mash.
We have the Darth Vader getting zapped with the lightning figure.
Yes, for your eyes only, movie review watching fans. I love it. That's great. So then here's what we have for the end of this. So the movie then ends with the choice of Darth Vader now. And I love this. This is to your point. He's looking at Luke and the pain he's suffering. He's looking at the Emperor who's doing the pain. He's looking back at Luke. He's looking at the Emperor. And again, having to act with just turning your head with the mask not being able to is a tough thing. And then when you hear him go, "Father! Father!" I mean, didn't you feel that? Right? And then you see it. Finally, the man with one hand and a half comes over and grabs the mighty Emperor and throws him over the edge. And now this guy we've been fearing since A New Hope and definitely Empire Strikes Back, right? We're looking at him now going, dude, he's a hero now. What he did is a hero. And then, of course, there's the big scene at the end, the Ewoks, everybody's singing, everybody's happy, Princess Leia and Luke talk. Which I would say, if I had a criticism here, it's like, why didn't Leia respond to? That was her dad.
Yeah. Wait. So where is he? Is he dead or what?
Yeah, she doesn't really say anything about him. She just kind of listens.
Well, and then there's that moment where he's like, "Help me take this mask off." That part is really, really good. I was like, it was kind of sad to see like how frail he was under the mask.
It was.
Once they took it off, I was like, "Ew." He looks like he looked like Dr. Evil, even though Dr. Evil didn't exist. But he's like this old, bald, pale. Ugh, I don't know. He looks so fragile. But I always love that scene where he's like, "Oh, we take this mask off."
And you see, you're exactly right. And he used the last bit of his energy to save his son. So Luke jumps out because he wants to save his sister, and then Dad says, "All right, I'm going to save my son. It's my last act." And if you notice at the funeral scene at the end, where Darth Vader's burning up, notice there's only one person there, Luke. Which I always wonder, why wouldn't Leia
go to her dad's funeral? I guess she's just like, it's not my dad, and my dad was killed on Alderaan. So.
Yes, yeah. So then take a look at this now. So that's how 6 ends, and already in Episode 7 we've seen a burnt up Vader mask.
He went back for the mask?
Yeah, so something's going on there. So can you imagine now we're really excited to see Force Awakens, to see what is Kylo Ren's deal.
Well, we know so little about The Force Awakens. All that it can do is look to what we do know. And the last chapter in the story is Return of the Jedi. So we have to look at Return of the Jedi and say, well, there's nothing in between these two. I mean, they released those books, but not really. There's really nothing between Return of the Jedi and this movie we know nothing about. So if you're trying to figure it out, you need to go back. Like, that's your last glimpse into this world. So, and there's definitely things from this movie in Return of the Jedi, like the mask and all that.
And it turns down to this. Kathleen Kennedy, when she was trying to find a new director after Disney had bought it from Lucas for $4.4 billion, to get J.J. Abrams, who at first said, "No, I don't want to take on that project," because he's a fan, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be the person, right? But the question that she said to him, which then told him that I know they're trying to go down the right direction with this, because nobody wants the prequels to happen again, right? She just said to him, "Who is Luke?" And he went, now I know that they're trying to take this to the right place. Because when you think about it, at the beginning of Return of the Jedi, he's in black. He's in control. He's a dude that watched Ben Kenobi die, who was teaching him the Force, and then eventually Yoda would die. You know, so he's seen some stuff that would make him kind of dark. He's in black. So who is Luke Skywalker? Notice who we not see in the trailers.
Yeah, part of me, it has to be either A, he wants it to be such a surprise, or it has to be B, I don't know. The one I kind of lean toward, or maybe it's a little of both, is maybe he's only in the end part of the movie. I think the whole movie is like building up to getting to Luke.
Yeah.
So I think he might only be in the end. So I think maybe he might feel guilty a little bit promoting Luke if he's only. I think he's really only in the very, very end of it. It's just my guess.
I
right?
agree.
I'm just guessing.
So.
I have no information.
Yes.
I'm just saying my guess is you do not see Luke to the tail end. Interesting.
And that would make sense because if you're trying to hold him back, if you put him in the first or second act, people go, "Yep, I know that is."
Yeah.
So you almost kind of have to not have him in the first and second act, so that when he does finally show up in the third act, people are so caught up with all the action, the Battle of Jakku, which we know is coming, right, from what we've seen in the trailers, to boom, now he's there right when you were looking at all the explosions. It's a nice misdirect, and all of a sudden there's a guy stands up like, see there, this is going, Star Wars is going to be so good.
I can't
It's going to be
wait.
good.
It's getting closer and closer. We're just a couple days away, so it's getting tougher and tougher. It used to be easy, September, July. That was all kind of easy because you just don't think about it.
It's so
now,
far.
now it's like it's time to think, and it's everywhere. By the way,
Yes, it is.
I haven't seen stuff this everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even say that when the prequels came out, although those were, especially Episode 1.
Yep.
But I remember when, in the 80s and 90s, when movies would come out, when there wasn't internet and everything was everywhere. Like, I remember when Batman came out.
Yep.
It was Batman magazines. Batman was on the cover of the newspaper. Batman was in cereal. Everywhere you went, it was Batman. And that's, like, what this is like. Like, it's Star Wars everywhere.
There's even Star Wars cereal.
Of course,
Yes,
yeah.
it is. Yes, and toilet paper and shot glasses. Are
Oh,
probably
good.
coming
3 of
too.
my favorite things.
They do have water. I saw water. But not so much. Star Wars water.
Well, movie fans, we're now at the end. We've had a blast just reminiscing and talking about these films. The only thing left to do now is just go see the new film.
All right, let's go.
Let's go
That's
now.
what we should do. At this exact moment, we should go.
Yes,
right
go.
now.
Let's go.
Out of here.